Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, and this is my series of the state of the collection. I have too many watches to profile in one video, and so I decided that I would do a video for each watch or the watches of the same brand. And we're starting to get towards the very end here. I've got a few more watches. The two oldest watches that I have, which remain to be profiled. I probably won't do a state of the collection for my Casio G-Shock, and that is just because I've done 3 videos with this watch. One when I unboxed it, one when I put the SKX mod on it, and then another video when I got this FKM rubber bracelet and put that on there and swapped out the metal bracelet. I still have the metal bracelet to this SKX mod kit, but I just don't use it. I like the FKM rubber. It's more comfortable. It's a good watch, but you just can't see the time. Anyway, so I probably won't do a profile of my GM 2100-1 ADR Casio G-Shock, just because, like I said, 3 videos. Now this watch is one of my very favorites in the collection. This is a Yema Superman WORLDTIME. This watch is made by a French company, founded in 1948, and they are the first watch brand that had a commercially available watch with a depth rating of plus 200 meters, beating Rolex with their Submariner. I guess 300 meters was the depth rating of that 1963 original Superman. And this is basically a reproduction of that 1963 Yema Superman, with the exception that it also features a WORLDTIME GMT fourth hand. That was not on the original. I really love this watch. It is decidedly French. I took receipt of it in July of 2021. When I did unbox it, came with this bracelet. I use this bracelet intermittently, but in order to preserve its condition, I prefer to keep it on a NATO strap instead. Yeah, it's a decent bracelet. Actually, this bracelet is probably, maybe it's only weak spot, although this does have substance, and it is solid links from beginning to end, so it's not really a bad bracelet at all. But anyway, I think the Yema looks good on a NATO strap, and so I just keep it on there. Now, like I said, this watch was the first commercially available watch with a depth rating of 300 meters, which is to say that you could actually buy the watch as a customer. Rolex had experimental watches that they were messing with in the 50s, but those were not commercially available, and therefore they don't count. Now, when I bought this watch, it rescued me from my fever of becoming a Unimatic fanboy. I was, at the time that I bought this watch in 2021, Hodinkee had done their first collaboration with Unimatic, and they were going to release a GMT. And in fact, I had the GMT in my basket, and I think there was a problem making the payment, so I backed out of the purchase. And that same day or so, I saw an advertisement for Yema on Facebook, of all places, and I was like, that's interesting. So I navigated over to the site, and I immediately fell in love with this GMT. And I think this was even lower priced. I paid 1,200 euros, $1,200. I don't remember now, but it was right around 1,200. And I felt very happy that that is the decision that I made, because it awoke me from my fever dream of Unimatic, which really isn't that good a product, let's be honest. And I feel like I got a better watch all the way around. It does have an in-house Yema 3000 movement, so that's one thing that the Hodinkee Unimatic collab didn't have. I think it offered Solita for the first time in Unimatics. And I like the good looks. I love the maxi dial, those large indices, really awesome. And this watch had some quirks about it, which I really appreciated. Now, the Yema 3000 does beat at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it does feature 42 hours of power reserve. The time that this watch was available, you could purchase it in two sizes, so I picked the larger 41 millimeter case diameter. It does have a 48 millimeter lug to lug. It is 13.7 millimeters in case height, and it has a lug width of 19 millimeters. I think this is a 20 millimeter NATO on here, but you see it works. It does work. Really great. Has this box top sapphire crystal. I really love that. It came in 3 different iterations at the time. One with a Pepsi bezel, if you will. One with a Coke bezel, and then this one, which I liked, which was just stainless steel. Unfortunately, over time, there have been some scratches on this bezel. Despite how much I've tried to baby it, it somehow has happened. It's kind of depressing because it doesn't look as good as it did in those pictures that I took when I did the unboxing video. It's weird. I babied it, and still I managed to scratch the top of that bezel here and there. And some paint chipped off of the 12 o'clock triangle. It just came right off shortly after I bought it, so it was obviously a QC issue, the paint not adhering to the stainless steel. It does have a BGW9 lume, ample, on the dial, the hands, and of course the pip, and it is spectacular. There is a date window at the 3 o'clock, but you see that the date wheel is actually black and the numerals are white. So that's a really nice touch. I actually like that. And here is their patented bezel locking mechanism, because back when the first Yema Superman was released, they didn't have ratcheting bezels, just friction bezels. So this mechanism here locked the bezel in place because of that coin edging there. You use the crown. When you lock the crown or screw the crown down, it locks the bezel in position. Now, of course, they do have ratcheting bezels, and so this is an unnecessary feature. Nonetheless, it still comes with a majority of their watches. I notice they're sort of getting away from it now, too. And it's easy enough to remove. If you take the case back off and you remove the stem, well, then you can remove the bezel locking mechanism. I like it there. It's a quirky, nerdy little thing. And despite the 13.7 millimeter case height, you see that the case there is really a thin mid case. Really, all of the height is coming from that bezel and then also from the swelling of the case back. It's a great watch. There's no doubt about it. There's no two ways about it. As I said, it's one of my favorite watches in my collection, and it's a watch that I would not part with. And now I notice that Yema for some time has discontinued this. So, I mean, this is why we buy watches, right? So that they will become discontinued and you will be the lucky owner of it. And you know, Yema has sought to have official manufacturer designation, so they have revamped and redesigned and built from the ground up new movements. And whilst they still have the Superman, they don't have a Superman WORLDTIME GMT anymore, and their new Supermans feature the new micro rotor movements that Yema has designed, developed, and is now building. And that's quite nice, you know. This watch does have an idiosyncrasy. I did have a problem with the time and the GMT setting, but it seems like it behaves now. It's a very similar problem that I had with this that I also had with my Bodary Admiral GMT, where when you go to reseat the crown, apparently it still wants to spin the minute hand around the dial, but it hasn't been acting up that way lately, so I guess that's a good sign. Um, yeah, it is a little bit dodgy though. Whenever I unscrew the crown to set the time or set the GMT or whatever it is I might set, it does concern me that there may be a hiccup. And because it's an in-house movement, it would probably necessitate sending it back to France where it was built for repair, and I certainly don't relish that. All right, guys, thanks for coming out. I think the last two watches I would probably do in my state of the collection would probably be my two oldest watches, and I might do those in one video together. They are separate brands, and one was a found watch, a recovered watch, whereas the other one was one that I actually got, and they're both from the 90s. I do have a couple of Rolexes, but I see no reason to give them free advertising, considering all of us are paying 30% markup just to pay for the marketing. There's no purpose, and in my opinion, I have them. They're here. In fact, they're just a meter or so away from me in the watch box, winding. But nonetheless, two more watches to go, and I really thank you for coming out and spending time with me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Cheers, everybody.